Root selector is defined by using colon root. It is also set effects at for effects for root level element. Root level element means what? Usually root level element is body na, at body. So you can directly write body, or you can use universal selector, or you can use root. But when they are used, situations will come later, right? One more is there, language selector. Language selector. So it sets effects, set effects based on language defined. But we haven't learned language also. Later we will see. For that we have to use LANG. LANG is used for language. These also you will see later, not now. Why? Because for that you have to learn how to set language, how you can define language, how do we work with the language. We need to know about that. Once you know about the language and handle, then you can work with all these three types of selectors. We have universal, you have root, another one language, right? So as of now, you go to the project here. In the project, I am referring some or shopping, right? Now here we want to apply to all elements in the body section. Then we have an habit of configuring like this. What you can do is we can use asterisk all. Here we can apply some font family as Arial. That means entire page will be affected with it. Entire page will be affected with that. Suppose I am writing some color as red, the entire page is affected. It is similar to the body option we are using, but later situations you will know about it. There is another selector. Instead of that, you can write as what? Root. Root also uses the same thing. Right? Language is there. Later you will learn, because for that you need language. For that, at the end of CSS, we are going to see how to deal with language. So here we are using the option. Suppose you see, actually for unordered list, we can put a language. Means in a page, we learned how to use this language in HTML, but not in HTML. In every area, we can use a different language. In every area, we can work with a different language. And when you are dealing with different languages in every area, then for a language, one effect, another language, another effect we can define. That you can't try now. For that, you need to learn how to set different languages, multiple languages. So these three selectors, you are going to understand in the later stage: universal, root, and language, right? But just know about them. Later we will implement. These are all the complete different types of selectors we are having in CSS. So in CSS, till now, you learned about two concepts. Summary, what you learned, two concepts up to now. So how to define styles in page, means inline, embedded, and external file. Second, you have learned how to select elements. Okay, how do we select elements? By using selectors. These are the two things you learned in CSS. That means how do we define and how do we configure, right? Yeah. So selectors, we are defining the selectors and working with the selectors. Next, in CSS, you need to understand about, in CSS, you need to know about another major concept, that is CSS rules, which already we learned. But I am just keeping a heading because many times people ask what are CSS rules. CSS rules already we learned. If you remember the basic rules of CSS, what we learned, first one it is, so if styles are defined inline, embedded, and external, and with external file to any element, then which set of effects will apply? What do you say? If styles are defined for an element, and you have written inline, you have written embedded, you have written external file for same element, then which one will work? Two situations are there. If same attributes are used, then according to priority. If different attributes are used, all will apply. Understood? That means if same attribute is used, then it will apply according to priority. What is the priority? First priority is given for inline, second priority is for embedded, and third priority is for external file. According to the priority it will work, right? Next, if different attributes are configured, what will happen? Then it will apply all. That is the basic thing we learned. That is one rule. Second rule also we learned. Second rule is, so if styles are defined using ID, class, and type, then which set of effects will apply? What do you say? According to the priority, na same answer we already know. What is the priority? So we have ID, another one, class, another one, type. These are, if different are configured, then all of them will apply. That depends, right, how you configure. These are called rules actually. So already we know the rules. While learning those points we discussed, but I am keeping in a separate heading, what are CSS rules. Okay. Next, after understanding CSS rules, you need to know about CSS units. You have to know CSS units. Units means in CSS how measurements are defined. How do you configure height, width, and all these? What are the units used? In interviews, these are also very much asked for fresher level people. They regularly ask what are the units, CSS related units, how they are defined. Actually, units, we have two types of units. We have absolute units. And we have relative units. Units, two types categorized. We have absolute units and we have relative units. So what is difference between absolute units and relative units? Absolute units usually, so many are there, but major we will discuss here. We can give units in inches, you can give units in centimeters, you can give units in points, you can give units in pixels. Difference is nothing but the space, how much you give. Actually, all are same. If I have to move with less points, more I need to define. Then we go with inches because 1 inch will be 36 pixels. 1 inch means it will be 36 pixels actually. That means if you want minor changes, then you go better with what? Pixels. These inches, centimeters are not good for screen actually. These are all good for when you are presenting on a printer, am I right? Then inches, centimeters are good. On screen presentation, which one is best? Pixels. We have to use what? Pixels. On screen, when you are presenting anything, then better go with the pixels. So if you are using a paper, because generally we design like tickets so that user can print the ticket. So from websites, in that case, what we do? We design in inches and centimeters because paper size is correctly measured in inches and centimeters. So inches, centimeters and other units are good for printing purpose. On screen presentation, you have to go with the pixels. One more you learned, if you remembered, percent. Percent is used for, it is used for fluid. It is used for fluid. Fluid means what? Fluid means it will change according to the width of browser. Means percentage of browser. If browser is there in the browser, 100% means full occupy. 30% of browser, 50% of browser. Already I told you this when we discussed about images. Image width and height can be mentioned in pixels as well as in percent. In CSS, we have absolute units. What is meaning of absolute unit means they don't care about parent child elements. That means if a child element is there inside parent element, you are adjusting the width and height of child element. It doesn't have any relation with parent. That means they are not related to any others. They are not related to any others. Relative units means two important relative units are there. One is EM. Another one is REM. So this is actually element, and this is actually root element. This is root element. Element and root element. This is relative units. What is meant by relative unit? So the meaning of relative unit is nothing but with regard to the parent. With regard to its parent. So based on the parent, it will adjust. Let's see one example to understand this. That means what is the relative units and others, right? Let's see. For example, to understand this, I will give a simple design here. Yeah. So we have this is the element body. Body is the element. In the body element, I defined some content, suppose welcome. And inside this, I am giving a div or I am giving a paragraph. Right. In the body section, we have a paragraph. Now for this paragraph, we are applying some style. That means suppose I am configuring paragraph style as some welcome to JavaScript or some CSS, right? Yeah. I will keep here styles in HTML. Okay, this is body section and this is the paragraph. Now what I have done is I give an effect for body. For body font size, I given 40. Now what will be the paragraph size? I given the body size 40. In body, you have styles in HTML sentence. In body, you have paragraph also. That means now this size is going to apply to both of them, paragraph as well as body. That means both will display same size. So here you run, you can see it will display both same size. That means both paragraph and this one are displayed with the same size. I want paragraph half the size of body. I want paragraph half the size of body. How do we define half the size of body for paragraph? So half the size of font means I put paragraph font size as 20 pixel. 20 pixel means half the size of the body. That means now it looks okay. Now when I change this body, change the body to 60, I'm changing that to the 60. Now you can see it is 20 only. But it should change to half. It means it should change to 30. But it is not adjusting because currently you are using pixel. Pixels are absolute units. Absolute units means they are not related to any parent. They are independently defined. Now what you are doing here, I will give here 20. So here instead of 20, I will give 2em. 2em. 2em means 2 times the parent. 2 times the parent means 120. Equal to parent means 1em. That means this also will be how much? 60. This also 60. Now I am giving 0.5 em. This will be half of parent, half of parent. That will be like this. Now what happens here? You see, let's open this here. Now what happens here is, here I am changing the parent size, then automatically it should adjust here. I am changing the parent size to 30. 30. Automatically it will be 15. That means when you are changing this to 25, then automatically it will be affected to this child. If you are increasing the parent, then automatically child also increases. These units are called as what? We call these as relative units. So absolute units and relative. Absolute units, they don't depend on parent. Whatever the parent is there, they will individually apply. If you want to apply as per the parent, means double the parent or double the less than the size of the parent, then you better go with this em. Means, is this size standard? This size is not standard. This will be changing according to the parent. That is what actually em is. Em is what? Element. So what is em? Element. Element means what? So it depends. It depends on parent element units. Understood? Based on parent element units, it will work. Now what is REM? Root elements. That means actually instead of em, I am giving REM. REM means, so why it is so lesser? 0.5 of REM. REM means nothing but before this size is applied to body, what is the size of body? That is the root size, we call as. That means before the font size 40 is applied to body, which is the font size. By default, it may have a font size. Na? Suppose if I am not giving this font size, if I am not giving the font size to body, then by default it is having some size. That is called root size. Root element size. Root element size means the default size of body section. Based on default size, it will apply, not based on parent. Default size it will apply. That means you see now I'm giving 40 pixel. So if I give EM means what? Depending on parent. If I give REM means before this parent some size was there, na? Before that size was applied to parent, some default size is there. To the default size percentage equal to that I want. That means I will use 1 EM. Double the size, then we have to use 2 REM. So 2 REM or 1 EM, like that we have to define. So if I give 1 EM, what it will be? It will be equal to that parent. So it should be related to root element, root. So then we have to use as REM. That means if you don't apply any size, by default one size is set. That size will be used, and based on that 1% or 2% you have to define. That is based on the root element size. We have to use it. So root element means, so it configures the default root size. It configures the default root size and sets according the root size, sets according to root size, according to the root size. That is what actually REM. We have 2 units, another one related. So this is another option. Let me copy this. I will upload a document on these rules also, same like as I uploaded styles selectors. Rules related, units related, separate document I will upload there. Everything detailedly will be there, whatever we learned in the class, example wise. So we have to know the CSS rules and we have to know the CSS units. What are the basic units of CSS? Next important, you should know about another CSS colors. CSS colors. Already we know some of them. What are HTML colors? HTML colors, we have 2. What are those? One we have hexadecimal, another one color name. Color name. CSS, you can use color name. You can use what is it? Hexadecimal, right? You can use hexacode. You can use RGB. You can use RGBA. And you can use HSL. And you can use HSLA. These are the relative units. Relative units. Means, colors. How we can define the colors? You have color name. We have hexacodes. RGB, RGBA, HSL. RGB, RGBA we already use, right? Color names, hexacode already we know, right? What is the color names? So name or shade name, am I right? And what is hexacode? Hash with RGB or hash with RRGGBB. What is the range of red, green and blue? RGB range is how much? 0 to F. Am I right? This already we know, right? And what is RGB? RGB is a method. It will use red value, green value, blue value. Already I told you the range. RGB range can be how much? 0 to 255. Already we designed now. One extra what we have to use, RGB, A, red, green, blue and alpha. Alpha means what? Transparent. Transparent. We learned in Netflix design. Yeah. So that means, so alpha can be how much? A can be 0 to 1. We can set alpha. Already we learned that. So we already know color names, we already know color codes, we already know RGB and RGBA. So if you are applying the colors in styles, then what you do, you have to define color. Color you can define as RGB. RGB is red, green, and blue. 0, that is red. Another one, 255, that is green, and blue is 0. That means it will set green. You want the green darker, then you have to move towards 0. That means 100. That means green will grow darker, right? So 50, that means more darker green. It will put a darker green here. So 255, 0 to 255, it will get the color bright. We can mix the colors by using RGB. And one more already we know, another one RGB A alpha, that is 0.4. Transparency of color will come. Transparency of color, already we saw this while working with Netflix. RGBA we discussed. Another option is there, HSL. HSL actually hue, saturation, and lighting. Hue, saturation, and lighting with alpha. We have HSL and HSLA. Hue, saturation, and lighting, and hue, saturation, and lighting, and alpha. But we have to try these only by using images. For images only, they are good. We cannot easily apply them, and we cannot see the good difference if we are using general colors, means general text. They are good for backgrounds, they are good for images. Background, images, and patterns, I will tell you. Gradients, we are going to learn in gradient concept. Gradient means multiple colors can be kept as background. Then this HSLs will perfectly work. I will show you that when we set multiple backgrounds. When we learn multiple backgrounds, we will see that. So currently we can define like this, HSL. We have to define the hue and the saturation and light. So you have to define hue, saturation, light. There is another option. What is it? HSLA. We have hue, saturation. Yeah, we have saturation, and we have light. Another one is alpha. Alpha is transparency. The ranges and all we will learn when we are learning backgrounds. Multiple backgrounds, we will see that. So colors in CSS we can give in 6 ways. There is one more. We call them as gradient colors, that I have to teach you in backgrounds, right? In backgrounds we will learn. There is another concept called, we have linear gradient and we have radial gradients. Linear gradient and radial gradients. These you are going to learn in background concept. So as of now, I am not explaining because for that we need correct situation to use. When we discuss about backgrounds, we will see these 4 things. Already these 4 we learned. Now these 4 we will see how to put with multiple backgrounds and images. Then you can handle them. So we have colors in CSS in 8 ways you can define. In HTML, only 2 are supported directly. One is color name and another one is hex. Here in CSS, there are so many ways we are going to use them, right? Already we used how many effects? 4, right? Yep. Next, in CSS, you have to know one more very, very important CSS inheritance. CSS inheritance, another very important CSS inheritance. This is very important concept again. CSS inheritance is nothing but, for example, see, I am defining some paragraph here. Yeah. Let's put some paragraph with some paragraph information. I will copy some paragraph here. I am copying the paragraph here. And I will put that in a P, that is paragraph. Now you see here, I am writing how many elements are there in our page. How many elements are there in our page currently? In the page, 2 elements are there. One is body, another one paragraph. Am I right? 2 elements are there. Okay. Now I will select this and put it in a div. Now how many elements we are having? 3. Now for this div, I will put an ID as container. Now see, I will access container is equal to container. I am defining padding for container 20 pixel and border for container some 2 pixel solid red color, and background color for container. Background color for container is what? Background color for container is some yellow color I will give. Now for which element I am applying effects? For which element I am applying effects? Div na? Am I applying for div or paragraph? Div. Then you can see that paragraph is present inside the div, and you can see that the paragraph is, this is paragraph. Now important here, you observe carefully, for the container I will give font size again 20 pixel. I will give color again red. You can see it is applied to paragraph also. I applied effects only for div, but paragraph is present inside the div, so is adapting. What effects it adapted? Font effect. Font adapted, na? Yes. What else? Font color. Font and font color. Why not border? Why not border? Background also affected, na? Why not border? That means when you are applying effect to a parent element, the child elements automatically adapt them. But sometimes we don't want that. Sometimes we want which is not implemented. For example, paragraph is not implementing border of parent. I want paragraph also to implement the parent border. For parent border is there. For parent font color is there. Paragraph is implementing. Right? Suppose for parent font family is there. Font family I given as what? Arial. It is implementing for that. But why it is not implementing border and padding? So that is the nature of some elements. They don't adapt everything, but they adapt few things. Now I want this paragraph to adapt. I want this paragraph to adapt the border of container. Understood? Then what I can do is I can write paragraph. What paragraph have to do? Paragraph is not adapting the border of this. Then what you can do is, here you can set all. I can set all inherit. We can say all inherit. Inherit everything of parent. Inherit means reuse. Use everything of parent. Currently it is using only font size, another one color. It is not using border. It is not using padding. I am asking paragraph to inherit all. If you want, you inherit all. Then what you can do, inherit. You can see that paragraph is inheriting all. Now paragraph is inheriting the parent border. Paragraph is inheriting the parent padding. Paragraph is inheriting the parent background. Paragraph is inheriting the font style and font size. I don't want paragraph to inherit all. Few it should inherit, few not. Then you can write like this. You see, what you can do is here, first one, you can write, so border. What about border? Border of parent, inherit. That means if parent border is there, inherit the border also. Okay. If font size is there. Font size, you have options like, you see, initial. Font size initial. Font size initial. Color also initial. Initial means before it was adapting, what was the color? Black. What was the size? Some 20 or some 15 or some size. You can see it will kept it to initial. That means which one it is implementing? Border only it is implementing. It is not implementing the font size. It is not implementing the color. I don't want to implement the font family also. Then what you have to do? Font family. Family also what? Initial. That means font family initial. That means it is not implementing font family. But I want to implement padding. Currently padding is not implemented, right? I want to implement padding. Then what we have to write? Padding. Padding what? Inherit. Then it will display that. That means when you are applying effect to parent without any specifications, automatically some effects apply to the child. Some effects are automatically adapted by child. Some effects are not. Then I will choose which one to apply, which one not to apply. For example, suppose I am giving here background color as initial. Background color initial. You see it's not working. Background color initial, it is not working. I am using background color unset. Then it is not working. It is not working. That means actually there is another option, unset. It's not working. Suppose background color as suppose white I given here. Now you see it is working. So why background color initial is not working? Background color initial is not working. Because actually the background color is not yellow for paragraph. Background color is transparent. Because of transparent background color, you are able to see the background color of a container. Understood? Paragraph is not having yellow color. That is the reason you set unset, nothing will happen. Because default paragraph background color is not white. It is what? Transparent. It is transparent. Due to that, what happens? It looks like even you give that initial, it is not changing. Why? Because initial is not white color. Initial is transparent. Initial is transparent. Actually, background, it is not adapting. Background color, it is not adapting. It is adapting font. It is adapting font size. Then what you have to do is certain things you need to reapply with some other options. Right? Even I say background color none. If say means there is no background color, then yellow only will be there. Because paragraph don't have a background color. It is transparent. It is seeing through that. That is the reason the parent is applied. So you have this technique. This is very, very important. So these kind of questions, remember when I say interviews, in interviews, CSS interviews, JavaScript interviews, and HTML front-end developer interviews, they will not ask how to apply color, how to apply background. They are not questions to ask. How they will ask theoretically that how to apply color? Orally, you will say open curly brace, write background color. Orally, you will tell like that. That's not guide. So, whatever designs are there, they will give practical. Theoretically, these kind of questions are asked in interviews. How a child element cannot implement the parent? What should I do? Parent is adapting child, child is adapting parent. How to avoid? And child is not adapting parent. How do we implement? Right? By using inherit, by using initial. Another option is there. If you want to clean all the effects, so first I will give you this example. So that means here in the CSS inheritance. So inheritance is used for code extensibility and reusability. Inheritance is used for code extensibility and reusability, which you are going to learn in JavaScript OOP concepts. You will discuss about that. So CSS effects are automatically inherited or automatically inherited by the child elements. You can control by using following values. So what are the values? We have inherit, and we have initial, and we have unset. Inherit, it implements the parent. Initial removes the parent effects and sets to default. And unset, it is to remove all effects. To remove all effects, we can use unset. Unset is used to remove all the effects, right? But this is used dynamically, not here. Dynamically means while working with JavaScript, we will say that for this element, remove all effects. We write a logic unset, then automatically deletes all the effects. We can dynamically delete the effects given to any element by using unset. As of now, suppose you see here, this example I am giving, copy. This is the example. In this example I given here, the border it is inheriting, font size is initial, color is initial, font family is initial, again padding it is inherited. Right? So now you see, I remove this. Now paragraph is implementing all of the parent. Now we will actually put so all as unset. You can give unset. All as unset, then it removes everything. But see, font style and all not normal. That means some padding is removed, some borders are removed, but default some effects are there. That is the reason this you will understand when you are dynamically applying. Here you cannot try immediately. Later, when you are dynamically applying, you can use. Initially, you can try two things. One is inherit, another one is initial. These unset like things you will see when dynamically applying, right? Yeah. These are all CSS related inheritance. So before working with CSS, actually CSS people have to know all this. So the CSS rules, the CSS colors, the CSS units, and the CSS inheritance. So whatever till now you learned, all are for interviews. All these days, whatever you learned about CSS, they are related to interviews. From here, whatever you are learning, they are not for interviews orally asking, they are nor test, they are for practical designs. That means once you are qualified in the initial round of question answers, then you have to practically design and show that you have to be perfect now with the help of these options you are going to learn. Up to now, what you learned, you should remember, right? Those points you need to remember in order to crack any interview, right? At any level, even MNC level interviews, everywhere these questions are asked. CSS related questions means about rules, about units, and about inheritance. And one more, selectors. We learned selectors. And how we keep the styles, embedded, inline, external, all these things. Now, once you are good with all this, now we can start learning about CSS attributes. We can start learning about CSS attributes. One by one, how to use different CSS attributes, we will see. All these days, we have used these attributes, but not in order. Wherever we want to learn some background, we learn background. Background is an attribute, font is an attribute, color is an attribute. But there is certain tradition and order for these attributes to learn. We learned attributes here and there, assorted way. Right now, we will learn everything in order perfect so that we can understand all the consequences, right? So actually, in the CSS attributes, first we have to start with box model attributes. We have to start with box model attributes. Already some of these box model attributes we know. Box model is nothing but box model attributes means, suppose we have a page, we are having a page, and in the page we are having some paragraph. So suppose in the page we are having so we are having a paragraph. Yeah, suppose some paragraph like this we configured here. So this is the page and we are having some paragraph content like this. Around the paragraph we keep border, am I right? Around the paragraph we keep the border, and this is considered as box model. In the box model means how to display content like this. In this box model, what are the options available? You know the options available. In the box model, you will have margin. In the box model, you will have padding. In the box model, you will have border. So that means box model contains two more things. One is width, another one is height. This comes under box model. We know everything. We know what is a margin, we know what is a padding, we know the border, and we know the width and height. Already we know box model. Box model is nothing but how to keep the content and surroundings. That is called as box model. And what is margin? Margin is the space between the border and the page. What is padding? This is called as, we call this as what? Margin. So this is considered as margin. The space between content and border is called as padding. The dimensions of this paragraph is called as, this is width and this is height. Already we know that. And the outline, this line is considered as border. We generally call that as a border. But what you have to know extra is, already we know, but you have to know that margins we have left margin, we have right margin. So that means actually it is margin left. We have margin left, we have margin right? We have margin top, we have margin bottom, and we have margin bottom, and we have margin. This margin is called shorthand. Shorthand. That margin is called shorthand. Shorthand means it is used to display all. That means from one option you can apply all. That is shorthand, right? That means, for example, see, suppose you have a paragraph. Let's clean up all these colors. Yeah. Now, for this, we just have a paragraph. Yeah. Wherever paragraph is there, I will keep border as 1 pixel solid red color. Okay. And you see the paragraph, I want to adjust the distance. I want to adjust the distance left and right. Left, right, top, bottom. Actually, what you can do is we can write margin as suppose 50 pixel. Then what happens? Margin 50 pixel means it will set the margin all directions. All directions. You see all directions 50. Top 50, left 50, right 50. You can write like this. You can write here. So 50 pixels, comma 50 pixels, comma 0 pixel, comma 0 pixel. This is margin. That means you can see here it is applying. Suppose 150 pixel, and you can see it is not showing any different spaces. I will give not comma space. Okay. Yeah. Now you can see what happened. Top and right. You see here, this is suppose I given 50. Then you can see it at just top. The first value is top. Second value is right. Third value, suppose I said 40, then it will be bottom. And this will be, suppose I given 50, then this will be left. That means top, right, bottom, left. That is the order. Top means clockwise it will come always when you are defining. Top, right, and bottom, left. That is the order. If you give same value, it will apply all. That means here, what is the order we have to give? That means top, right, bottom, left. That is the order. That means syntactically, how do you define margin, right? Margin. Okay. So here we have to define syntax. Suppose you are applying for paragraph, you have margin, and you define 200. 200 means 200 pixel. What does this means? All directions. Understood? All directions it will apply. Then you can apply like this for paragraph. What is it? Margin. So this is some 50 pixels. Then right also suppose 50 pixels. That means top and right 50 pixels, and bottom 100 pixels, and the left 100 pixels. Like this you can define. This is the value of what? Top, right, bottom, and left. That is the order how you define. If you want only left margin, margin left, right margin, margin right. Now based on that, if you want only left and right, if you want only left and right, then how to apply? If you want only left and right, you have to put paragraph, and we have to write what? Margin. You need to define margin. So 0 pixel top, right how much? 50 pixels, bottom again 0 pixel, and left again 50 pixels. Like this you can give. This is to apply what effects? This is to apply left and right. Understood? That is the order of applying margin. That means you don't need to write two times margin left, margin right. In just a margin, you can put 4 values. That is how shorthand ways are used very much, right? That is the same thing you have to handle by using padding also. That means next option is what? Padding. Padding also same things we have. What is it? Padding. Padding left. We have padding left. Another one. Yeah. Padding right. We have padding top, and we have padding bottom, and we have padding. That is shorthand. No need to give example. Same as margin. That means same top, right, bottom, left. That is the order how padding works. All these days we learned, but we were applying only one or two or all types. Now we can apply according to the requirements. That is padding. Okay. Next important, border. Border have a lot of things. Border is very huge actually. Border have a lot of things. We have border. This border is all. This is all. So we have border style. Border style. We have border line. Border color. Right? So we have like border size. Border size, border style, border color. What is the border? It is used to apply. So this is used to apply style, color, and size. All three you can apply here, but individually you can apply like this. Only style. Style means what? You can apply double. You can apply solid. You can apply dotted. You can apply dashed. You have like crew. So many border styles will be there. Border color you can apply. Border size you can apply. Actually what we are doing here, we are applying border all three. First one is size, second one is style, third one is color. There is no order. You can write anyway. You can write first color, after that size, after that style. There is no order. If you want to separately manage them, you can write like this. We have border. Border is what? Border size, border width. Yeah, we have border width, not size. Border width is nothing but thickness, 20 pixel. That means it will be 20 pixel. But there is no style. What we have to do? We have to define border style. Border style as double. That means it will display that double. Border style will be double. Here I will show. You can see double. Right? And if you want color, what is it? Border color. Border color is some red. It will apply. We are defining separate. Instead of separately defining, you can individually mention. All together you can configure. All together configure. But not only this, you have so many other. Actually, you can also give border left. Border left. Here we have again border left style. We have border left width. We have border left color. That means through left, what you can do, you can define width, style, color, all three. Or separately you can define. Similarly, you also have border right. That means border right style. We have border right width. So we have border right color. So many options are there. Border left, right, top, bottom. So similarly, I will give here. Similar for top and bottom. Right? So many ways of configuring. That means you see now I am defining like this. What we will do is border left as 2 pixel solid red color. I will just give a good padding also to so that you can clearly see. Padding is 20 pixel, it will get a gap. This is the border right. You see border left. I want to give here 12 pixel thickness. Okay. I'm giving border top as 12 pixel solid some blue color. It will apply like this. Right? So that means we can define separate options and configure. We have border bottom 12 pixel or I will give 10 pixel solid blue color. That means it will be like this. This I will give as red color. It will be like this. We have border right as 10 pixel solid some blue color. It will be like this. We can apply. Different colors we can apply. We can configure the combination and display like this. This is how we do. Not only that, we also have options now. What is that? We have border radius. We can use border radius. Border radius again we have border top right radius. We have border top left radius. We have border bottom right radius. Like this you can define radius. So border bottom left radius. All these are the options we have. That means you can set complete radius. You can see what I am doing here. I am giving border top right radius as 20 pixel, right side 20. I said suppose 120 pixel, it will be like this. That is right radius. And what I am doing here, border bottom left radius as 120 pixel, it will be like this. So we can adjust here, suppose some 80 pixel, then it will be in this way. Depending on the requirement, you can configure. This is not only for paragraph images. Anywhere you can apply these borders. So border have lot of things. We can all together apply them. This is all the border. Not only that, another very important, we have border image. This is important. We can put a picture as border, but here some problems will be there. So this is very important question also. Sometimes you will face how to set border image or image as border. Because lot of designs requires image as border. How to set image as border? If you miss a small part, it will not work actually. Lot of complicated things are there to put image as border. First thing, if you want to put image as border for this paragraph, if you want to put an image for border, first what you have to do is, I will put text align justify. First thing what you have to do is, you need to put a border transparent. First you have to put a border transparent, border without any colors. Without any color, how you can put a border? We have to say border. So 30 pixel and solid, and we will keep transparent. Transparent means no color. Then actually you will not feel like there is border, but there is border. Without keeping border, you cannot put image as border. That means first border mandatory, but color should not be there. Even if you give color, it is useless because it will not show when you put an image. So for the border, after that, we have to use border image. Border image, you have an option here. Border image, you have to use URL. Border image URL. But important, which image you are using for border, that matters. Blindly, if you put any photo, it will not work. It cannot show. Because the image you are keeping, it should be suitable for border. You upload any photo you have, it will not work as border. That means because border means it should have width, height, correct, suitable for border. For example, see now, I will open MS Paint. In MS Paint, let's create a simple design. Just I will take a simple thicker lines. Yeah. I'm creating small design here. Yeah. Like this. Yep. And I will select this. Okay. And I am dragging this. This is transparent. Okay. I am defining this one. Okay. Like this. I am creating an image like this. I am creating one image like this. That means you need to design an image which is good for borders. That means like this I am creating. And I will fill up some color here. Okay, I will fill up another color here. Alternatively, some. So this image I designed here. Okay, and save. I will save this as border. Border, where is it? Ours is shopping, eDrive, eDrive shopping public images border. eDrive shopping only, na? Yeah, it is eDrive shopping only. Fine. I'm pasting that here. Yeah, I'm pasting border. It is a PNG file. Close. Let's keep that here now. What is it? // public. It is in public. Directly, it is in images. Images, it is not there. Wherever is CSS examples, that means // public, not public also. Again // public. In that images, we have border.png. Okay, that is the location where we saved. Okay, now see, it is not applied everywhere. It looks four corners, because border have so many other options to implement. You see now, after defining this, we are giving how the border should display. Suppose I am giving stretch. How much percent stretch? Suppose I given 70% of stretch, then it will display like this. It is using stretch. I'm using some border like instead of stretch, we have option like round. Round means it will be like this. And how much this is? Suppose I am giving 40. 40 means more large. I am giving 90. That means it will be like this. Instead of round, I can give as stretch. I can use stretch. It will be like this. And depending on how much you are giving here, suppose 100 I defined, it will be like this. That means percentage of stretch. So everything will not work as border. You upload some photo of something else and say it not working, it will not work because you can't see it correctly. It will work, you cannot see it. And very important, when you are using border image, border compulsory. If I don't give border and only border image I am giving, it will not work. It is mandatory to have a border. You should have border, then you can put image. Border color, even if you give, it is no use now. Why? Because it will not work, because image will dominate. Then you are wasting the time of loading by applying a color. That is the reason better what you do, you set it to what? Transparent. Thickness depends on how much you give. 130 thickness I given, it will be like this. That means the border thickness depends on how much you define. Suppose 80 thickness, 90 thickness, it will be like this. That is the border style we can apply for anything. And depending on how much you give, that means there is actually space also. By default, it is like this space. You get space will come. Some space will be there. After every break, there will be some space. Instead of space, you can have stretch. And stretch will be like this. You can have like what? Round. Round will be in this way. The way of how you present the border, that depends on this. Right? For border image, you need two things to define. So first point, what you have to do is set border style, and then the image as border. That means you have to define like this. Answer is so how do we define syntactically? Suppose a paragraph border. So it is 20 pixel, it is solid, transparent. And after that, here we need to define one more. So border what? Image URL. You have to define some border.png, JPG, something. And here we have to give stretch. So, or you can give round, or you can give space. Here we have to define 1 to 100. 1 to 100% you have to configure. Understood? 1 to 100 you have to define. That means how much stretch, how much space. You can set it from 1 to 100 pixels. Example, this is the example for that. So let's copy this example. This is the example how I applied the border for that. That's a simple one. This is important. That means in order to set border, you have all these options, border images and border styles and options. Right? So is it clear? This is all the box model we have. Next important, now we will go into other categories. So width and height, no need to explain, already we know. Right? So width is nothing but sets content width. Height is nothing but sets content height. Width and height are same, no change. Now this is considered as box model. Next important, after knowing the box model, now we have to know the CSS positions. CSS positions, CSS display, CSS related floating, so many will come. Already we learned position. What positions we learned? Fixed position we learned. Remember the fixed position. We designed social bars and all. Na? We learned about sticky position. Remember? When we learned about data list terms and definitions, we can keep the sticky Sticky positions we learned. Positions, so many are there. Absolute, fixed, sticky, static, relative. These positions we will see how to handle. That we will see tomorrow in the